part 2 again. So we should see some of those same ones crop up. And yep, they're going to be taking away the same champions to start this one off, of course. And we'll see the anti-lock-in. So now we get to see what Giants want to answer with. The Sejuani makes a lot of sense. That is, of course, what we figured they wanted. But what do they take next? Looks like it's going to be a Sivir. Okay, so that's just Fadri, not really a takeaway from Freeze. He has played it a few times, but it's not been one of his go-to picks normally with this Sivir. Obviously, any Sivir is a terrible, or well, a tough composition to play against because you got so much engage coming in. So not a bad pick from Giants, already a good start. I like Sejuani in the jungle. I think she's one of the strongest junglers here on 5.5. Even though Frederick hasn't looked too good lately, giving him one of these big tanks, it means in the late game, he's going to have a massive impact. There's the Maokai then. Yeah, I think that's kind of a no-brainer there. Soren is going to go ahead and quickly lock in the Ahri as well. When he can get rolling, Soren definitely gets a little bit scary. This is why he commands those Cassiopeia respect bands. So they're kind of taking away Pepinero's carries in the mid lane, with LeBlanc being banned, with Twist of Fate being banned, and then taking Ahri fairly early here. I wonder what Pepinero is going to lock in, because again, it's so often about him, what he can do. If he goes for like Ezreal mid lane, that's not really a champion you carry on from the laning phase. You got to get to that mid game, and they keep swapping around with two spots. But also that Sejuani pick here. It's Diana. Okay, that's fine. That's a good pickup. I like that. It is a very easy lane to gank though from the Copenhagen Wolves. If they get an early aggressive jungler here on Airwax, they can really shut down Diana in the laning phase. But Sejuani as well is the only champion Airwax has played more than once outside of Jarvan, so it is a bit of a takeaway from him. Yeah, I think with the way this Giants comp is shaping up, that's an all-in composition. They definitely have a lot of ways to chase you down, but not a lot of ways to get away. Maybe the Sivir ulti. Well, you don't want to use Sivir ulti to disengage when you have Leona, when you have Diana. I mean, that's kind of ruining the purpose of your comp. You might as well. This is an all-in dive onto the back line of Copenhagen Wolves, and it's most likely going to be Freeze that's the target every time, because the Ahri is going to jump around, obviously. So if Freeze goes Draven here with very low amount of peel, except for the Nunu, he's going to be the target in every single team fight for Giants. Talk about trying to protect your AD carry. If he does lock in this Draven, no innate escapes against a team like Giants is cooking up. Well, it's a risky one. It is very risky. It takes some cojones to try to lock that in. Let's see if they do. That's what they're talking about. I like this more. It's a little safer. Get a bit more mobility. At least get the dash, a bit more tankiness as well from that Graves. Because, again, you know you're going to be the target every time. And when you're against Diana as well, you can go for Graves because she's going to dive in as an AP mage. Your burst will count for quite a lot. Yes, he's going to go Hourglass early, but that's about it in terms of her armor. So you will do a lot of damage to her. Graves' problem here in this patch is if there's double tank, his burst does nothing in the mid to late game. But against the Diana, he will be able to at least blow her up. So Werlib is going to get his hands on the Hecarim this time around. We'll see how he does against Youngbuck, or if they even opt for the standard lanes. I do like Hecarim for Giants. It's one of those champions where it is still worth it to gank for Werlib, get him ahead in the laning phase, get him to an early Trinity Force, and let him become a bit of a split pushing threat. As long as he can use those teleports correctly. And also, what Giants are doing, this is another team, Copenhagen Wolves and Giants, both struggle in the mid game, mid to late game in terms of decision making, like how to push our lead. Giants' composition is so simply made. Are we ready to fight? Okay, here's Copenhagen Wolves. Let's just blow everything we have. And there's no way we're not going to get the right engage, or at least some sort of engage on the Wolves, because there's so many options. Hecarim ulti, Sejuani ulti, Leona ulti. I mean, there are so many ways of starting that fight. So as long as the Copenhagen Wolves walk into them around an objective, Giants will get the fight they need, or should at least be able to. And then it's just about, can they execute it properly? Can they pick the right targets? They've got the comp to try to run over the Wolves. Let's see if they can do it here. Why don't you guys at home tell us what you think? Can the Copenhagen Wolves clinch their final seat at the spring playoffs or not? Tweet us at LOL Esports with the hashtag CW win or GIA win. We'll see what you think once we're loaded onto the Rift. But for now, we're getting close to the end of the regular season here. The crowd's getting hyped up, and we're loading onto the Rift. Yes, we are, Pyra, and we have Pepenero on a different champion from what we normally see. Still a champion where he can carry. And Werlib too. This is his first Hecarim as well. That's true. See what he can do with Hecarim here. But Diana for Pepenero, if they manage to make sure he doesn't die early on to, let's say, gank from Airwax, and get him to that level 6 point with a Sejuani, you have a fantastic way of just jumping on Soren in the lane,
shut him down. Diana is a fantastic pick when she gets a lead. She does not work very well if you start falling behind, especially not against double tank, because then she doesn't really have any targets unless she gets on to Soren or Freeze in the late game, which obviously is going to be the target for Pepinero. Diana doesn't really kill the tanks too well. Oh, that's a fight.
It's poked with the umbrella.
That was a boring fight.
It was over very quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a dance party up in the river.
Is that a dance party or?
I'm not really sure what that was. Let's pretend we didn't see it.
All right, so no early item for Whirly, but we have seen Hecarim players do is just start the flask, do Raptor, go back and get like a cloth armor or something. First, oh, Unlimited winning. Winning out, he got a bit of extra gold as well. But no fancy study for Whirly. He can still do a camp and recall and TP into lane, but won't really get an item advantage, only that level 2 from it. And it looks like he's going to do the Crooks.
Yeah, we got the standard lanes so far. A couple of wards placed around, but it's been all quiet apart from that. Freeze trying to be sneaky in this forward brush. He's going to back away from it now.
And I really want to see how Airwax is going to play the team fights. We haven't seen him play Nuno before. It was banned yesterday, despite him never really playing it in the LCS and always focusing on these hard engage junglers. This is obviously very different. Now it's about peeling and kiting for him. And it's going to be tough to pull off a good ulti because there's so many guys who's going to try and stop him with all the CC and Unlimited.
Oh, that's a good stun.
Nice stun. More gold as well.
He's getting some stacks in the bank. He's going to take a boomerang blade to the face, though. Still well worth it to grab that extra gold to start this one off. We've got our 2v2 in the bottom side. Meanwhile, in the mid, Soren, Pepinero. See how this one goes. You mentioned Diana, not so good from behind.
Yeah.
See what Peppy's able to make with it.
And obviously her laning phase, while she can farm pretty well, getting a kill pre-6 should never happen if you're playing Diana. Like, that shouldn't be possible because you don't really have the ability to do it, and you're going to have to like flash into the enemy face to try and kill them, and that's super risky if the enemy jungler is nearby, so you have no way out. She's a bit of a one-way ticket. You go in, you don't go out.
Riot is taking a lot of damage in this bot lane right now.
Giants came a bit late because Unlimited stunned him over here after he placed the ward as well. So Freeze got a bit of a push going. And Copenhagen was taking full control of the lane. This has really been a problem for Giants in the past. The bottom lane, in terms of the 2v2 laning, tends to not do well. And we have seen other teams, even in losing matchups, take the 2-2 and do well against them. Freeze and Unlimited has been one of the best dual lanes we have here in Europe. Especially if you look at the last like 5 weeks or so. They won't have any problems as a Graves any lane, or shouldn't have at least, in this bottom lane, unless they get caught by Riot. If he can manage to land engage Unlimited here, it's going to be the target. Yeah,
Riot is going to move on to Unlimited. Exhaust is down, but this could be first blood. He's healed, but he's ignited as well. Looks like that's going to save his life thanks to a biscuit. He's going to stick around for a moment yet. Frederick working on the blue buff, not coming to help out with that one, but Audrey and Riot were perfectly fine with it.
And this is why people like Leona into Annie. You can engage so easy on this immobile support, and she's very squishy early on. Well, Leona, of course, can tank up some of the damage. So nice engage. Blowing that flash is important. It means Frederick can now come down for a gank.
Riot's trying to flank.
And Riot can so easily set it up on Unlimited. You can even just flash stun him. Even E-flash if you want. Start the animation first, flash after, and Unlimited shouldn't be able to react with no flash.
Well, Unlimited's got no summoners right now, and Freeze doesn't have the heal. So if they do decide to swap target or to change targets onto him again, it's going to be a little bit troublesome for that Copenhagen Bulls bot lane. Everything else has been a little bit more quiet. You do see Whirlet pushing in on the top side against Young Buck. Riddle, however, back at the bottom is going to get stunned up by Unlimited. Just trying to keep him pushed back. Farm been traded a little bit back and forth. So far, Freeze is getting a slightly better end of it. There we are, back to the top lane. Young Buck is just having to deal with this very aggressive pony. Pushing him back, but he's still taking some damage.
We'll be getting free farm, both top laners. Obviously, Hecarim want to rush towards that Trinity Force, early home guards as well. We've seen Huni multiple times now really carry games on the top lane Hecarim. We've seen it in other regions, Korea, China often. Even NA obviously pulled it out a few times. It is a fantastic pick, again, as long as you don't fall behind. That really is the problem for Giants composition. When you have this much engage, if you start falling behind and you're not strong enough to take the fight, even though you can engage, you don't really have anything you do. You just sit back and you just slowly wait for Wolves to take all your objectives. So Hecarim and Diana, two champions who does not want to fall behind, because they are very all-in focused. Meaning the Copenhagen Wolves, as long as they keep it even, at least here in the early game, and then towards the mid-game, start creating some picks with the Annie, with the Ahri here, see if they can get a lead over Giants.
That's the plan for these Wolves. Remember, they're playing for quite a bit here. Freeze dodging away right after Riddle goes in with the Zenith Blade. If the Wolves can win this one, they do secure their spot in the spring playoffs. Got a lot to play for, and so do the Giants. really means a lot. Frederick going to be able to back away before Airwalks does spot him. Moves on into his jungle. Let's see what he can grab here.
Plays a few wards at least. One behind the red buff right there. No pink though being put down, so just deep vision to try and spot Frederick, who's not level 6 yet on this Sejuani, so you're not too scared of him. Just let him sit back and farm, get the information, and you can see Pepenero here. That is full lane focus, triple Thorn's Ring. Just want to do as well as he can in the laning phase.
Oh, he hit 6.
Well, yeah.
Oh, he's going in. Okay, there we go. There's a Lunar Rush, and Soren didn't take too much damage. He's able to return some fire, dashing in again, Pepenero. He's going to go for it, but there's a Spirit Rush. Pepe is ignited. Both mid laners are actually. Pepenero, oh, he's going way low. But he's able to stay alive. There's the Deception, not enough. And we don't have first blood yet.
Only hit the first one on the Q. They didn't get it on the return. Airwax now in this lane to push it in. Frederick is nearby, but Pepenero won't really be able to help a whole lot. Staying around for the farm. Good little fight in the mid lane. Flash blown should mean another setup for the Wolves in that mid lane. On Pepenero, one Soren has ulti again.
It was a very, very close call for both those mid laners. A lot of summoners blown. Now Frederick looking to start up this dragon. He knows that Soren's not around. He doesn't know where Airwalks
needs to check this one. He should walk down and make sure this does not happen. Because it's not even like the bottom lane is in a massive advantage. No, they're fairly even. There's no mid laners. Okay, Airwalks should be walking down. He might fall into a trap, but he wants to clear the ward instead of checking that dragon here. But if he walks in, he's going to get it.
Oh, but he just walked right by it, didn't get close enough.
And now
he's backing. Oh, for the Wolves. Wah, wah.
That was a free dragon. When your mid laner is even back in base and you get a free dragon, that should never happen. Bit of a mistake from the Copenhagen Wolves early on here, giving that dragon over. They did, of course, see when it was taken, so they got the time on it. Still a bit of a disadvantage. And early home guards.
Very early home guards for Warlove. He's going to the races, trying to get back to lane to deal with Youngbuck. About even in farm up at the top. We haven't talked too much about it, just been shoved back and forth. However, Youngbuck did get forced onto the double Doran start. Warlove arrives just in time for the farm to come to him. He's going to be able to eat and run, but stay in one place at the same time.
I'm not a fan of what Pepenero is building at the moment. I don't feel like you need cooldown reduction that much on Diana, because you're getting your reset on your ulti anyway, so your combo is like Q, ulti, ulti, and your Q as well at level 9 when it's max rank is already going to be down to around 5.5 seconds cooldown, and that should be enough for you, honestly. So this means he's going to delay his Scepter, he's going to delay his Magic Resist, he's obviously also going to delay his Hourglass coming in for him, so he's going to delay these tanky items, which is what Diana needs when she's diving that back line. Because yes, you have some good damage from it, but you're not really that tanky just from being Diana, because you are an AP mage after all.
Right, and those triple Dorns aren't going to help out the later the game goes too. So Pepe will grab his blue buff, but it is a little troubling for him. Let's take a look at that fan vote right now. Wow. Giants fans coming out in force here. 84% saying they're going to win this game.
Representing Spain, of course. All 5 players.
Serious.
Right, this is a game we talked about. No flash for Pepenero here in the mid lane, but he is going to be able to get back to his tower. I want to see what he's going to build. Oh, obviously Morel gone first, and Unlimited, he has already flashed away, but there's a lot of magic damage on the side of Copenhagen Wolves. Why not just rush that Abyssal Scepter, go Hourglass after, and suddenly the burst from Wolves can be neglected fairly easily just by popping that Hourglass when you're going and already having that magic resist from the Abyssal Scepter. But I assume he's going to go Morel Nomicon first with this first item.
I think that's a fairly safe bet. Now, Frederick's been hanging out between the mid and the bottom right now. He's going to go ahead and clear a pink out, place a ward down of his own, trying to provide some pressure for Giants. It's a very even game so far to start. The one dragon is really what's separating these two teams. Warlib is going to roam in the general direction of the Scuttle Crab. Frederick going to clear out a ward as well, so they'll know this one's happening, but it's really just Giants trying to grab the vision game for themselves right now as the lanes play out fairly standard.
Yeah, double ping ward on the top side of the map, meaning they can set up a play around Youngbuck. It's a very easy roam now from this mid lane here. Both entrances has been covered. Frederick is sitting here waiting for Soren. Oh! Didn't get the stun.
Dash is just out of the tail end of it, and he gets the slowdown, but still not quite enough. Rydal now forced to run away. As Airwalks in Unlimited, we're at his tail. Frederick's there to back him up. Scuttle Crab now being cleared out in Dragon side, of course, Copenhagen Wolves have nothing to take here, as the Dragon was, of course, pilfered quite a while ago.
Yeah, just want some control on the bottom side, because they already lost the top side. If you look at their wards, Wolves are putting all the focus down towards Freeze, where Giants want to try and snowball this Hecarim up here. Again, Pepinero has a very easy way roaming to the top lane. We know he likes to do it. You can either take the route behind the Baron, or you can walk straight in towards the blue buff of Copenhagen Wolves, and there's a smaller chance than normally of a ward spotting him with these two pings. They gotta use them though, otherwise Airwax can just walk in and clear them out. This fairly aggressive ping ward won't really pay off for Giants.
I'm not getting anything for it just yet. Let's see what they can make do. Starting to ramp up in the items. Everyone's sitting on their ultimates now, but it's just still continuing to draw out the laning phase. 2 minutes on the next Dragon. See what happens with that, as Wolves have invested quite a lot of this vision game in the bottom side, as you said, but to be careful not to get chunked out too hard. Now the mid tower is being fired down by Frederick and Pepinero. How much damage can they do before Soren arrives? It looks like not too much.
Small wins here for Giants with the Dragon, a bit of damage on the tower as well. They're gonna set up for another gank on Soren. There's no ulti for Frederick yet. Same thing we said for Soren though. If Pepinero can jump onto him, he might force a flash.
Check close. Oh, and in comes the Sejuani, but that is a lot of return damage. Peppy wasn't able to follow through as quickly. Soren gets the better of that in a 1v2.
But it's the same again though, just small fights all around, no real advantage gain for anyone. We haven't seen TP plays yet from Whirlip. No roams either from the mid lane, from either of the two mid laners. And obviously Airwax and Nuno is just trying to get some wards down, farm up, get his Cinder Hole completed. It is already done from Frederick. We're gonna have to go into the mid game. Both teams normally struggle. It's gonna be pretty exciting. Now there's no real advantage for anyone.
Yeah, you know, in a number of Giants games, they did do quite well in the early game, and of course things kind of fell apart. When they've been dead even, it's pretty much been the same story. So I'm curious to see if they can, you know, as we said on the desk, really evolve in this particular game. It means a lot to them to try and stay alive and not put themselves in the auto-relegation territory, to be able to still fight for their LCS lives. They've said it all split, that that's what they want to do. Well, now it's time to put their money where the mouths are.
It is for sure. Obviously, if they do lose here, it's not over yet. MYM, if they lose to Rocket, we're going to have the tiebreaker now. Here's the first TP.
Yep, Soren's going to try to dodge out. Goes right back in. Whirlip is going to be caught up by the charm. Airwalks and Pepinero dueling it out. Absolute Zero is on. Meanwhile, down to the bottom, the Glacial Prison is going to be a first blood going over to Frederick.
And Copenhagen Wolves didn't get anything on the top side. The Dragon is live. Again, Giants are moving there. A lot of ultis being blown in the fight beforehand, so this should be another Dragon now for Giants. Nice little setup on the Annie. Not a whole lot you can do unless you flash the first engage. Gamberg will find Whirlip. Soren is here still. Snare him,
get away.
And should get him.
They got the slowdown, twisted advance, a lot of flashes burn. They really want to take down Whirlip. They should be able to do it. And it goes over to Airwalks, but they're going to pay for it with another Dragon, as that does get secured up by Giants. 2 to them now.
And a free farming Diana in the mid lane. Nice little play in the bottom lane from Giants. Really, if you look at the two comps and the mid game, so Giants is running a bit of a fight composition, where you have so many ways of engaging that you don't necessarily need to set up an objective beforehand. You can just kind of walk in there, and if you see the opportunity, you engage. Obviously, it's always best to have vision control, but Giants can play around it just because they have so much engaged on their side. What Copenhagen also is going to be a lot more about either catching someone off guard with the Annie, or otherwise you just kite around. You kite back with Nuno, you kite obviously with the Ahri, then you land the charm and you single target or single focus that one target with the Graves and Annie burst, or Graves and Ahri burst in this sense. So it's going to be a lot for the Copenhagen Wolves, either catch out Giants, otherwise kite, have them blow all these ultis to try and engage, and then you can turn around after when you will be stronger.
Yes, indeed.
Pepinero, my friend, what are you building?
Peppy
Nash's
got himself back a suit.
So Nash's is the item you go for if you want to be a split pushing threat, but you don't really build it as a first item.
Peppy did do a lot of split pushing yesterday, though.
He did.
It's not like he's a stranger to that particular strategy.
That was also on a Twisted Fate, however, where he had an ulti to still, you know, as a global. And Diana doesn't really have anything. He's not running teleport. And Copenhagen Wolves are not going to have anyone who's going to fight him in the split push anyway. They're just going to have someone sitting on the tower defending, but I want to see how he's going to play with his Nashes here.
Well, Riddle's stunned up. There's a lot of wolves surrounding him right now. Can he make his way out of this one? There is some help in the form of Frederick. There is going to be the Glacial Prison, Absolute Zero going down. The Timbers is also popped. In comes Pepanero, but Soren is still alive and kicking as he dashes around. Unlimited picks up Frederick. Peppy going in, looking for Unlimited again as Audrey is now joining the fray. Oh, Spell Shield, heals, popped around, but the wolves, they have the upper hand here. They've already taken out 2 members. An Ice Ball goes down. Audrey trying to get a last kill, but he gets blown up by Soren. In comes Pepanero, Lunar Rush, and they're just trying to walk away from him now, but I don't think Airwalks is getting away. There's a charm, maybe I spoke too soon.
Oh,
Peppy does get Airwalks, but he's going to go down in just a moment unless he can make the outplay. I don't think so. It's going to be all said and done, 3-for-1 for the Wolves.
Yeah, we saw the start there for the Wolves. They were the ones setting up a small trap, and as soon as Riot engaged, they backed away, they kited around, they single out one target with the charm. That's how they got the kills. And again, this build here from Pepanero, that's not made for straight-up team fighting, because you cannot rely on getting these 3 auto attacks off to proc your passive every time in a big team fight. There's going to be a lot of CC trying to lock you down, people kiting away from you. This is purely a split-pushing build. So unless they can 1-3-1 from Giant side, then this Nash's won't pay off on Pepanero, and he could have spent it again. Scepter into Hourglass, which is the standard team fighting Diana build where you can really dive that back line.
I feel like standard is definitely not what the Giants are about in this game. Copenhagen and Wolves have built themselves up about 1,000 gold advantage despite the 2 dragons, of course, going over. Remember, they don't give any gold, but the buffs definitely should have translated into some fighting prowess. That time, just getting caught out one after another.
Yeah, they caught Riddle first, and then everyone kind of joined in.
A bit of a melee after that, yeah.
Somewhat, yeah. All right, Airwax will get himself a ping ward. Has got 2 kills on this Nunu. Not always what you want. I mean, you want the
There's also 2 on Soren.
That's fine.
In all fairness.
That's
but
fine.
You're right, it definitely could have helped out Freeze quite a lot. Soren himself is going to be waiting here for Pepanero. Airwalks coming around the side as well. Lands the charm. What can Peppy do? There's a lot of damage now. Absolute Zero coming in. Soren might actually go down here. He's ticking away. Airwalks will pick him up. Tried to give that one over, but it was a close call as Soren nearly got evaporated by Peppy.
And we do see some good damage still from Pepanero. As soon as he can get the passive proc, and now Freeze, he's in trouble.
Yes, he is slowed down by the Sejuani. He tries to blow back some damage, but Audrey's going to pick him up anyways. And now it's tower time.
We saw Unlimited try and go mid lane here, and Freeze were going to like bait the fight, but then they realized suddenly Frederick is nearby, turns it around on the Sejuani, a kill, and a tower for Giant, still keeping it dead even in gold.
They're still pushing up. Now they're going to back away. Airwalks looking to intercept this one. He places the ward down. Riddle and Frederick are going to see that. Maybe they want to start the fight. Another ward's placed down by Riddle, and then they have to dash away. Arctic Assault in reverse. And now Werlid might run into Youngbuck, who's looking to back to base, but he gets stopped. And now we've got a fight between these 2 top laners on our hands. The level advantage over to Youngbuck, who's going to prevail in this one. So far, Youngbuck looks like he is getting the better of it. I think they'll back off now.
Yeah. Hecarim is definitely not a tank killer either, so we're going to have to see Werlid start joining the team. When they are trying to make plays around the mid lane or around the enemy jungle, that's where Werlid needs to be able to join with their teleport if he really wants to have an impact on the Hecarim. Just fighting one-on-one against Youngbuck is not going to do a whole lot for Giants, and they've both been farming fairly safely, honestly, in that lane. Youngbuck obviously just going full tank. Righteous Story now completed. Got the little buff on 5.5. Fantastic early item now, 650 HP.
Airwalks has really been able to move around quite a bit in this one, but Peppy's still a very dangerous threat on the side of Giants. They're looking to try to bait him into something, but he's a little too smart for that one. Something like that happened before. Riddle now, placing the ward in the river brush, bottom side. Soren, Airwalks, no, they're not spotted here. Dragon's about half a minute away, so if they can get a pick here, that would certainly help. There's a charm on Pepanero as he crescent strikes in. In comes Riddle as well. Absolute Zero, not quite enough damage with the tank Nunu. Pepanero looks like he might get away, but now Riddle is the new target. He's going to be able to get out as well, but this will force a couple of backs with 13 seconds until the next dragon. Meanwhile, Youngbuck, Werlib, can one of them outplay the other? Werlib's just trying to get away from there. All the Giants have to back out, but they haven't hit the blue pill just yet.
It's only in the mid lane Giants are doing well at the moment because Audrey is just sitting there against Freeze in a one-on-one. But bottom lane, Copenhagen, they keep getting some good fights. Forced the flash this time from Pepanero. Dragon is alive now. Obviously, the first 2 went over to Giants, so the Wolves have to be ready for it. No ulti.
Max range with the spell shield on
Remember
Audrey.
though, no ulti for Soren if there is a fight breaking out. Werlib does have home guard TP. He could have waited in base here and trying to force one while Youngbuck were killing tower, but it seems like he just want to return to lane. So now they do see him. They know there's no threat of his home guards at least, if Copenhagen Wolves want to start this dragon, because they got some good wards around it. Notice how they have double pink behind it as well, because you know when there's a Hecarim, enemy team want to get deep wards in, and then TP in behind you and just one-shot your carry. These 2 pink wards here is going to prevent that.
Yeah, tower's not going to go down just yet, but the Wolves are still eyeballing it. Meanwhile, Pepinero's unopposed in this bottom side. Should be able to take that one with some relative ease. Copenhagen Wolves not feeling like they can start this just yet, but now they've got to know that Peppy is backing. No, he stops it. They're going to be all surrounding the Dragon Pit here, but they're hesitant to start.
And Willip is recalling now. He's sitting in base with Domeguys. He's coming in as well. They want to fight.
They know it's going to happen. They're going to need a teleport in from Youngbuck, but he's not going just yet. Oh my goodness, look at that damage as he manages to make his way out. Airwalks with the absolute 0. Can they still turn this fight? Willip finally gets the kill off on to Soren, and now Youngbuck, the rest of the Wolves, they've got to scatter, but doesn't look like Youngbuck's getting out of that one. 2 quick kills for Giants Gaming. They lose Willip for it, but they're about to pick up Dragon number 3 to Fischio.
And that was a very, very good engage from Giants. They saw the Wolves were splitting up. TP came in. Willip just recalled. After he pushed it away, if you recalled, TP'd in, and you saw the damage. The first hit onto Soren there, down to 50%. Let's see it again. The Wolves are kind of splitting up a little bit. Graves is on the other side of the Dragon now. The burst damage from Hecarim onto an Ahri here. Fantastic engage from Giants. Win the fight, get the 3rd Dragon as well. It's looking great. And as you mentioned with this Diana here, if you go for that Nashus, you got a 1-3-1, and Pepinero got the tower as well in the bottom lane. So Giants really managed to split up Copenhagen Wolves, split push against them as well. And yeah, okay, they've died a few times, but they've always managed to get some objective, either tower or dragon.
Yeah, this time around, the Giants are really, really bringing the noise against these Wolves. They've got themselves the first 3 dragons hard battled for. And if you're Copenhagen Wolves in this situation, I mean, they've had some serious troubles in this mid-game. Yeah. It just keeps continuing.
Not looking too good, at least the last few fights for them, but they have created some good picks. But that last fight really showed as well how Giants' composition, again, it's not one where you have to set up that objective of a minute in advance. You need 20 wards down. There were 2 wards at the Dragon. One would even have been enough for Willip to have a place to TP on with that home guard because the Wolves were splitting up. So just a very good job of coordinating. Now we go in, we have so much engage, and that's how we force it. They're going to go for Youngbuck now.
Speaking of engage, yep, they've got him, corralling him right into the trap. Vengeful Maelstrom's on, but I think this is only going to be a matter of time. He burns his flash, but Willip's still on the chase. The rest of the Giants are there. What can Copenhagen Wolves really do with this, though? Because there's everybody up in the top side. They're going to try to push you in the middle, but they're slow to react. And Giants, after securing that kill, should be pretty happy with it, but now this is going to be a chance for Freeze and Airwalks to take down the mid tower.
So the plan for Giants were, okay, bot lane is pushing in our advantage or in our favor. Mid lane, there's nobody from the Wolves, so we can go 4-man top, kill Youngbuck, and go back to the mid lane and defend it. Problem was it took a bit longer to kill Youngbuck, I think, and Graves and Nuno were nearby to take that mid tower. So in the end, unless Giants can take this top tower, which they should be able to, they just end up trading tower for kill, but Willip will get it here. So they get a tower and a kill, definitely in their favor. For just the mid tower here to Copenhagen Wolves. So
yeah, and it was close to gone anyways, so really it was
it was super low.
Polishing
just
it off.
A few hits.
Willip is going to be able to keep pushing this one out. He's going to be met again by Youngbuck, but he's definitely looking pretty good right now. Rydell and Frederick are in the area. See if they go and double up on this one. Audrey bringing the tail behind. The Wolves just aren't pushing anything really aggressively right now. And Giants are taking full advantage of that fact.
They are indeed. Well played so far. Them, and really, the setup beforehand for that gank in the top lane is you just look at every single lane, and you know if you go 4 people top, there's gonna be a cross map objective in some way. So as long as you don't have anyone who can push a tower instantly in another lane, you can go for these 4-man ganks, and that's basically what happened here. They were fine trading that mid tower for the top one and a kill. TP is not ready for Willip yet. It's gonna need about a minute's time. But then we're gonna see the next setup, and if the Wolves are not ready, if they don't spot that TP coming in and can stop him, I mean, you can have like the Nuno just walk in and snowball him. Just hit him one, snowball him while he's coming in with the home guards, if you know where he's TPing to, or the Maokai can do it, and you kind of block him, and he won't get to your back line, at least not with the home guard rush. That's a way for the Wolves to play around the Hecarim, but they need to see where he's TPing, and they need to be together to stop it.
One thing the Wolves are pretty solid at doing is making sure they stick together in situations. The problem is when they get flanked and they don't have enough numbers on their side because someone's backed, that can be troubling. Let's see what they can do here. 3 members in the bottom side. Pepinero looks to take his blue once again. A lot of wards littered up in the top, mostly those of Giants Gaming. So we'll see if the Wolves are looking to try and bait a trap here. But no one's biting just yet. Oh, Pepe's coming in. He's going to be flanked by Riot, dashes forward, and there are suddenly 3 Wolves on his tail. Ignite, the Tibbers is down, and they take him out.
Not the first time they set a trap in the bottom lane. They got Pipe and Air a few times on it. We'll get a bot lane tower as well, unless Giants can force an engage. Freeze is not there, he's running around the mid lane. So no AD carry yet, they will be able to defend.
Yeah, they just muscled the Wolves out of that position, but still, a nice pickup onto Pepinero. He thought he was safe, even with Riot at his back. It just wasn't enough to really get him out of a bad situation. There wasn't any disengage there, and that is the weakness of the comp.
Yeah, and really also just Pepinero going full damage on the end and no defensive stats for him. So if he does dive into a team fight, as long as the Copenhagen Wolves can just focus him, he dies super fast. But obviously, again, he's built to split push and not really 5-on-5. And that's why we're going to see him go back in his 1-3-1 setup. Rely on the teleport and him roaming from the side lane down once the dragon is spawning again. Because he does have a lot of damage.
And the Giants are just really playing this vision clear game. They want to make sure that there's no chance the Copenhagen Wolves can sneak in under their noses and grab a dragon out from under them. This would be their 4th if they do manage to secure the one coming up in just under a minute. At 26, almost 27 minutes into this game, Deficio, Giants, they're controlling the objectives quite well.
Yeah, first time they really set up for the dragon, but now it really matters because they got those 3 dragons and they know the Wolves are forced to come and team fight them on it. You cannot just freely give a team 5 dragons. So this is such a nice setup. It gives a lot of options for Warlip to teleport in, and the Wolves shouldn't be able to clear out even half the wards before the dragon is spawning.
There's simply not enough time.
As long as Giants are there to defend these pinks they just placed, then it's good.
There's Riot.
Riot is here on his own now. Pepinero just recalled, so they just gave the first ping ward over to Copenhagen Wolves. They need to be around them, force them to come in and face check you. Pepinero's not here.
Yeah,
and
on the
no
Audrey. They use the absolute zero. He's the one targeted down, but he pops his heal. They don't have enough damage to finish him off or get even close. Frederick getting pushed away. This is a short timing window, but Warlip, he has the teleport available. They started the dragon.
Oh,
massive glacial prison. Freeze, he's going to get dashed in. The Giants, they hit the on button. Warlip takes down Freeze, and the Wolves are scattering in all directions. Soren trying to salvage the fight. Youngbuck in the front distracting, but I don't think he's going to live for long. Frederick, he manages to live. 2 Wolves are down, and Giants Gaming, they look like they can secure 4 dragons here, Deficio.
What an engage from Frederick here. He got 4-man with his ulti, and then TP came in after. Freeze just melted instantly. Giants, they looked like they were kind of giving up around the area, allowing Copenhagen Wolves to clear the walls, but they came down once Pepinero arrived. Let's look at Frederick here. 4 guys from the Copenhagen Wolves, they group up. He throws the ulti. That is just beautiful.
Oh,
they just popped the Righteous Glory as well.
Right on the Scuttlecraft trying too, all the speeds.
TP from Warlip coming in. Pepinero's being locked down because, again, he's fairly squishy, but it just means the rest of Giants could do all the damage. Now they're chasing for more kills.
Yeah, Airwalks, he was trying to make his great escape. In comes Youngbuck with the home guards. Airwalk still being chased down. Warlip's going to be shoved back, but this has just gone all sorts of screwy. Giants Gaming still with a decent lead in this game. The 4 dragons to none. They've got themselves 2,500 gold, and they really were looking to go ham here. Soren, however, he's on the wrong side of a tower. He's going to have to take a couple of parting shots out of the way, and they see him. No way to chase him down, though.
Didn't even see the setup there, just the Giants were suddenly chasing around in the jungle. And as you can see there on the tap, if Copenhagen Wolves win, they are in the playoffs. If they lose, however, they need Elements to lose to Fnatic. Otherwise, we're going to have a tiebreaker, which of course will be played after our games today. So stay around. We might have a fairly long night.
This game right now, I mean, it means so much for the Giants because it puts them in a very good spot for avoiding the auto relegation. If they manage to win this one and Meet Your Makers do not win their game, then they're automatically out of the 10th place spot. They keep themselves safe and can play to keep their LCS spot. Yes. And the worst thing that can happen to them is they have to play a tiebreaker for that same situation. So they really want to win this one here and prove that they do deserve to stay in the LCS. Right now, they're making a strong case for it.
Oh yeah, they had some very good fights around these dragons here. Simply punishing the Wolves every time for not being in position when the dragon spawned, or at least set it up beforehand. Because we mentioned this like 20 minutes ago, how the Wolves, their setup, they need to have vision on Giants. They need to be able to see where the teleport is coming. They need to be able to see where the engage is coming from and then kite around it. Otherwise, they can't really teamfight properly, and that's what's been happening. They haven't had the proper setup on these dragons, and that's why Giants have been able to secure the last 2 at least and win the fights from them as well. And Obviously, a lot of kills on this Nuno as well. It's not going to help too much.
Yeah, you got to look at where the gold's going on Copenhagen Wolves. When they do get the picks and they do get the skirmishes that they've wanted, a lot of it's going on to Airwalks. He's got, yes, 100% kill participation. That's fantastic. But when he has 4 of the kills, and between your 2 carries, you've only got 2, they're falling a little bit behind in the Adam game, and it's starting to show.
Pepinero, I mean, this build here is
very
so aggressive. No, well...
It's effective though.
So Nash's first is not normal, even in terms of like pure split pushing Diana, but it was smart of him in this case just because he went down very early to a side lane and just sat and farmed, and that's where it's good to fast clear these waves here, proc that passive every time. And he's not been punished in the team fights, at least the last few we have seen, because the rest of Giants are doing so much work. When Hecarim jumps in, you can't just ignore him either. So it's very hard for the Wolves to find that right target. We saw they tried to lock down Pepinero beforehand. He flashed out and simply just stayed back and didn't really do a whole lot, but there was enough just taking all the focus so that the rest of Giants could win the fight. But it's really been about them getting the right engage, them getting good teleports, and Wolves having 0 response every time. There's no chance for anyone to block the Hecarim when he comes in with that home guard, because you don't even see where he's teleporting.
And this has all been enabled by the fact that Giants are able to place the deep wards where they want. Maybe they're not protecting them everywhere, but there are just so many Giants wards this game. It's been difficult for Copenhagen Wolves to do anything unsided. And Giants themselves have been able to sneak these objectives. It's led to them being in comfortable spots and then allowing them to dictate the pace of this game. Copenhagen Wolves on the back foot here, just trying to push Giants away.
Giants can just wait for that next dragon, 2 minutes. You do the same thing. You ward up around this dragon, you protect it this time around here. You have Whirlip sitting in base with teleport. It's going to be up before the fight, and you do the same kind of engage. All you need to make sure is that you have minions pushing in the mid lane, and you have a ward on the Baron, because you don't want Copenhagen Wolves to try and trade it and like rush the Baron, take that one down while you do the dragon. So that's why Whirlip is now warding it here, so you can see what's going on. And then all you do is you just sit around your wards around at the dragon. If the Wolves move to Baron, you send 4 guys over, you just leave your AD carry to solo that dragon on his own, and the 4 guys should be strong enough to stop the Wolves from doing Baron, and suddenly you get dragon, you stop Baron, and you basically get everything.
Yeah, simple game plan. We'll see if they're able to execute it. I mean, this has been Giants in a nutshell all season long, that they've had good game plans, they just haven't been able to always execute on them. But this time they've got a comp that can do one thing very well, and that's go in. They've been able to do that, yes. And they have definitely come up ahead. Despite what the kill score may indicate, it looked very close there, but Giants, they're definitely controlling this pace. Throwing out the Scuttle Crab, it's about a minute till the next dragon is available, as a couple more pink wards have been placed down all around that pit, and a few more regular ones. Copenhagen Wolves need to stop this 5th dragon. It will be lights out if they allow this to occur.
And you can see how Giants place so many wards even outside the bushes, just because it's hard for Copenhagen Wolves to guess where the ward is. Normally you sweep the bush and you're like, oh, we found the ward, great. But then there's just one on the other side of the wall which you won't get. So there'll always be a ward for William to teleport on and get his engage here. Go up, stop the push from the Wolves, force them to the top side so they won't get in to clear your wards around the dragon. 20 seconds. Now all you gotta do is make sure Wolves don't rush that Baron. Otherwise, you just force them into a team fight at the dragon, and it's in your favor. Send down Adri. Let him do the dragon on his own, worst case.
Well, it didn't allow the Wolves to move where they wanted, just body blocking every move that they've attempted to make so far. Frederick right out in the front. The Wolves are going to start having flashbacks here. It looks like they're going to start this one. A couple of teleports coming in. Dragon's already been started. Can Giants get this and get out or get the fight?
The
oh, they're going to move in. There goes Dragon number 5. In comes the Hecarim, and they're just starting to melt the Wolves. They just don't have anything in the tank. Whirlip, he's going to give his life for this one, but it looks like Giants are going to be able to win this fight as Airwalks goes down the tank of Ignite, taking the last of his health bar as the rest of the Wolves are scattering again. We see them time and time again just going down. 3-for-1. Dragon traded. Giants, they're heading straight for Baron.
They can get it, man. It's the same every single time Giants are here. First, they have all the wards set up. They can get perfect engages. Whirlip on this Hecarim has gotten so many good teleports in, and the Copenhagen Wolves simply cannot get the right team fights.
They certainly cannot. They attempted to take that one at the last moment. Dragon comes in. Let's see how it all unfolded one more time.
Yeah, okay, so Hecarim coming in. Down the bottom here, you can see him just on the side. He doesn't even get onto freeze because of a nice dash, but he zones away the AD carries. Now only Soren is left to deal damage. Remember, the Wolves are running a double damage composition. So if you take away one, there's not enough damage from the other guy to take down 4 members. That's why also Giants can just clean it up. Adri here on Sivir, untouched. Pepinero, untouched. Another fight for Giants. 5 dragons. Baron. They have everything they need to win this game and put all the pressure on Meteor Makers and say, if you don't beat Rocket, you are out of the LCS.
Daunting prospect for Giants. They're definitely sitting comfortable right now. And 5,000 in the lead.
I'll tell you, Pyra, Elements right now sitting upstairs and they're going crazy.
Oh, I bet they are.
Because this opens up for them to tie the Copenhagen Wolves if they beat Fnatic as well for that playoff spot.
Cheering for Giants. It's been an interesting prospect for them as Riot goes down unlimited. He's getting pretty low, but Peppy, that's a double kill over to Freeze. We might have spoken too soon. A couple of quick picks and Baron's gone on the mid laner and support from Giants.
Nice little pick from the Wolves. And Giants not able to set up anything. No teleport for Whirlip. He might try and push the bottom lane.
Yeah, the Wolves are going to get a mid tower out of this, though.
After pushing the top side, they're going to try and see if they can force Wolves back to defend, but they got 4 guys pushing in here. They might just get inhibitor and then go back after.
Looks like that might be the plan right now. Frederick, he's not feeling like he can stop this. Not enough damage, really. On the bottom side, you do see one being taken by Audrey in the top. He's going to look to push on inhibitor turrets, but their mid inhibitor's already gone. The Wolves, they're not leaving just yet.
Can Frederick stop some recalls here? Can he stop the recalls?
Inhibitor's going down to the bottom, though.
That's one inhibitor. They got bot lane tower as well here from Giants.
He's still going.
Look at Whirlip. He's coming. He's trying to collapse.
Oh my goodness. They're able to fire down with the Baron-empowered minions. One Nexus turret's already gone. Freeze has gone back to base, but the rest of the Wolves, they don't have time to back. Audrey's going to move away. Is he in danger, however, of being collapsed on? Or is it going to be the Copenhagen Wolves that get moved on? Eliminated. Oh, so low as Whirlip is able to take him out. Now Audrey dashing away. Airwalks. There's the Boomerang Blade. A lot of damage to him as the collateral damage comes in from Freeze, but it just tickles Giants Gaming. It's hard to say who really came out ahead in that one, Deficio. Inhibitors traded across the board.
Yeah, and more towers as well for Giants, but this was the Copenhagen Wolves team who's been behind all game long. They got an inhibitor down, so not a terrible trade for them on their side, but it's not over yet. 15 seconds on unlimited, buffed up minions, loads of cannons and everything. Giants pushing out. They want this mid tower as well. Should be able to secure it. They've got the Baron-empowered minions, and there's just no defense from Copenhagen Wolves. They've got to get back and stop the wave that's going to start pushing in the top. Soren's got no ulti, as you said. They're pushing away the super minions, smiting them down. Frederick able to just keep this push back, but they're running out of a couple minions of their own, and they're going to back away as the Wolves have made a defense. Now it's Giants going to the bottom to try to push this one in. Gotta stay together here. Audrey's in the mid lane recalling. No reason to push it too far. Just take this wave in, recall, get ready for that dragon that's gonna spawn soon again. Copenhagen will spot that pink ward. They will spot Audrey as well. We might get a fight then. Giants are staying around. Gotta make sure Copenhagen Wolves don't have any vision of what is going to happen here. 38 minutes into the game. Giants have grabbed every single map objective and 8 towers to boot. Copenhagen Wolves, they've got themselves 5 towers, but they did grab an inhibitor when it was traded. Let's see if they can make the defense here. It is not going to be easy. Now we got super minions pushing here. Soren has to go back and defend. Remember, one of the Nexus turrets are gone. It's a 5v4, but there's no minions. So Giants here trying to push in. Yeah, no minions for them. But again, by just staying here, they make sure Copenhagen Wolves can move out of the base and move to that dragon. Clear the one pink ward Giants already has. So they can just use this to wait for dragon to respawn. Get number 5 again. Buff yourself up. By that time as well, Pepinero should have an hourglass. And then you can really start diving into these team fights. Every single team fight for him has been kind of staying back, trying to bait out some damage from the Wolves, and then he's allowed Whirlip instead to be one of the big carries that dive the back line on his own. And he's kind of been staying. So now they're going to go back. Let's see if there's an hourglass completed. There is for him. So next team fight, this Diana is going to be insanely strong. In comes Whirlip to clear out the super minions in the middle. They were neglecting that for a bit. They should be able to get this one pushed back, but Dragon's not quite a minute away. They're going to have to get in there very quickly lest they give Copenhagen Wolves an opportunity to snag one back for themselves, who they desperately need it. They cannot afford to give another aspect of the Dragon over to Giants Gaming. But can they afford to take the same fight they've taken now 3 times in a row, where they lose every time? That's the million-dollar question there, Deficio. They have no way of getting that vision control, so they cannot use the comp correctly. They cannot spot the teleport. If you walk in and take another fight here, it might just end the exact same way as every other time, which is why the Wolves are behind. He's sitting there, he's going to wait. He's pinging on 2 wards behind the Wolves. Very easy ones for him to TP in, to look at that ping ward at the red buff as well. And then he's just going to look for Freeze, as always, try and shut him down. No peel for him. It's only that Nuno, but that's not going to do enough against the Hecarim. He's waiting. Where's the teleport going to be?
Already started the Dragon right now. It's going down to about half its health. Wolves need to do something now, but they've found something better. Unlimited after the Glacial Prison just absolutely goes down. Audrey is able to pick up that kill, and the Dragon secured. Whirlip coming in for Sword, who's burning away, but he gets a heal. Pepinero picks up Airwalks, meanwhile, flashes burn as Airwalks and Unlimited are down. Sword is gonna follow. That is a clean 3 for none. They're looking for even more as Whirlip moves away. Youngbuck, oh, they're gonna be able to take him down.
That's an ace.
Unstoppable. They hit the ace. They're gonna get the game. Another Dragon, of course, on top of it. Forget the inhibitor turrets. We're going straight for the Nexus, boys. They've only got one more to clear, and I can't believe it because Giants Gaming have made this playoff race continue.
And that was one of the best games we've seen Giants play. There was no real problems once they got into that mid-game. Laning phase, slow down, nothing really happened. They got caught out a few times when they tried to split up here and like go for this 1-3-1 setup, but as soon as they got into these Dragons, they were the ones who had the right wards down. They got the teleport every single time from Whirlip, and that won them so many fights.
Oh yes. Where was this Giant squad all split? They've put themselves in a good position to still be able to fight for their LCS lives.
Yes,
you have to be relieved in that situation. And you can see the smiles on their faces, but where was this team all split long?
Well, it's been a thing for Giants. It's you kind of rolling the dice and you see, oh, did we make the right call right there? Yes, we did. Then suddenly they do well. And other times they, you know, don't really seem to be on the same page. Obviously, Copenhagen Bulls, this means if Elements win, they will be tied and they're gonna play each other. Winner gets into the playoffs, loser sits at number 7 and just basically has a safe spot, no relegation, no playoffs, just ready for next season. So it's not the end of the world.
You can tell they're a bit disappointed, but you know, obviously words of encouragement there from Dentist.
It's still in their hands.
It's definitely not out of their hands at this point. They still are able to, at the very least, play another game to try and get themselves into the playoffs. But meanwhile, Elements, they got to be popping the champagne because they still have a chance to get in. Maybe not yet. You got to wait until later.
They have a chance, but they're playing Fnatic.
Yes, that's true. It's going to not be the easiest prospect.
It's not going to be an easy game. Despite Fnatic not playing for anything because they already locked this number 2, they're not going to walk in and just, you know, take it easy. No, they still want to win. So Elements now suddenly have a chance to tie the Wolves. And of course, Giants against MYM here. We might have to see it later in the tiebreak if MYM beats Rocket.
We might have to see. Now, quick shots on stage. Let's head up to talk to the saviors of Elements playoffs hopes.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm actually talking to the defenders of their own LCS hopes as I'm joined by Audrey and Riot. First of all, congratulations on a win. It was a little scary for a while, but you had this very aggressive team composition. Explain to me what your decision was, putting the comp together and how you were able to win.
Well, we practiced this week a full engaged team composition with Annie or Leona or stuff like that. And we are sure in this game that if we take the early Drakes and we keep the game prolonged in the time, our team condition is better than them. So we kind of snowballed the game and there we go.
It definitely worked out in your favor. Playing Sivir this time around, how was the communication in the team talking about those team fights? Because you guys just seem to engage without hesitation. Who was making those calls?
Yeah, actually we were a little bit scarier. I mean, we were scared more than usual because it was like a most important game ever. We were pretty scared of fucking up. We didn't want to lose our lead. So we played really safe. We would have played more aggressive if we could. So it wasn't like that impressive.
Well, it's truth words. Let's also step back. You guys have had a difficult spring split. One game ahead of Meet Your Makers now. How do you feel knowing you're a little bit safer in maybe making the promotion tournament, knowing that it's been a difficult beginning of the year?
Well, this game probably was the most important in the entire split. I think in this game we tried to play aggressive, but as I said before, our team composition was like incredible. So we, as Adri say, we can snowball more the game, even more the game. And now we win. Now it's over the game. We don't want to think about this game anymore, and we are very, very happy. It's not 100% we are safe, But we are going backstage and we are look the MYM game with the same nerves as we are playing.
Yeah, I can imagine that. First of all, congratulations on the win. It's great to hear some honesty talking about the matchups, and we'll have to see if MYM can pick up that victory. For now, though, we're going to head back over to the analyst desk to wrap up that match.
Thank you very much, Quick Shot. Riot doesn't want to think about that game anymore, but I do want to. I want to come back to something that Pyra said at the end. Where has this Giants been all split? I want to talk about the fact, was this a solid game plan or was this a solid team? I'm going to go with the first. I think that it was a stroke of genius what they came out with. Yesterday, they already tried it with the Rek'Sai, with the Global, and the TF, and trying to get that split push going. Now, Pepinero going for that split push very early on the bottom side so that they had Dragon Control and Hecarim TPing in and winning that fight every single time. It was a stroke of genius, but I think if they would have fallen behind early, they wouldn't have pulled it out. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree at that point. And when you look at it, it was a team composition that in the early game threw a little bit of everything at Copenhagen Wolves. Now, split push Diana is something that is kind of old school. Season 4, very start, end of Season 3, before all of the nerfs to Diana. So that's where the Nash's Tooth build comes from. Long time ago, as Deficio was saying, we don't see it a lot now. It worked out because it put a lot of pressure on. Very smart composition out of the Giants, but I actually think a lot of what Copenhagen Wolves doing played into the Giants' hands a lot, especially around the Dragon. I mean, Copenhagen Wolves had Nunu. That's a champion that should be battling for Dragon control, and they just couldn't get it.
And the Giants, we've said we've been fumbling in the mid-game, Copenhagen Wolves as well, but the Giants just got so far ahead by doing the exact same thing over and over. Let's get a replay up on that screen of one of the Dragon fights. Honestly, we could have shown any one of the Dragon fights because they executed perfectly.
Yeah, this is one of the slightly earlier Dragon fights. This was the massive stun here, actually, from the Sejuani ult, but Wirlib is already in this fight, and before these fights, Wirlib had been sitting in the base for about 15 seconds, so he's off the map. And Copenhagen Wolves in previous fights just didn't want to engage because of the Hecarim teleport plays. And you can see just how much havoc he's already caused. He split the backline and the front line up, and he's already way out of this fight. And Giants at this point just have so much damage from Pepinero. Wirlib is able to kind of get himself out of the fight and back to secure the Dragon. So just so many of these fights went in favor of Giants from the Dragon, and there was a glaring error on Copenhagen Wolves' side of things. They say that Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting it to come out in a different way. Insanity is also sitting on Doran's rings on your top and mid laner and unupgraded trinkets at 35 to 40 minutes in the game when you could be buying pink wards in a full inventory, going into the Dragon Pit, no pink wards, no Oracle sweepers, and expecting a teleport Hecarim not to exploit that. A little bit of an oversight there, or a big oversight that could potentially cost Copenhagen Wolves quite quite a secure spot, but you know that their fate rests in other people's hands.
Yeah, fantastic point. I mean, we've talked about how they fumble in the mid game, but they get ahead early, then they don't get that, plus the stress. It must have been something like that, making them make those decisions. At the end, though, it did show again for me that, well, Giants still doesn't 100% know what to do in some situations because the Copenhagen Wolves were able to get an in-hit, but then they reacted by sending Adri up the top lane. Fantastic, but the question that I posed in the beginning, was it a solid game plan? Or was it a solid team? Was it a little bit of both?
I've got to echo Pyro. Where was this all split along? It shows what they can do if they have an executed game plan that works out well. Unfortunately, 17 games, we haven't really seen that from them. In the 18th, they finally bring it out. It would have really been nice to have seen it earlier.
Yeah, but as it may be, they did pull out this win here. That does mean that they are one game ahead of MYM as of right now, and they'll have a small heart looking at that game further on. And it also means that Elements is still not out of the playoffs. Coming up next, the number 2 seed Fnatic will be taking on those Elements who still have a shot at the spring playoffs. We'll be right back with all the coverage in just a few minutes.
Minions are endangered species. Every year, millions of caster minions are slaughtered and killed. And for what? Only for monetarily benefits.
There is going to be the Glacial Prison, Absolute Zero going down. The Timbers is also popped. In comes Pepinero, but Soren is still alive and kicking. Oh my goodness, look at that damage as he manages to make his way out. Airwalks with the Absolute Zero. Can they still turn this fight? He's going to get down against the Giants. They hit the on button. Wirlib takes down Freeze, and the Wolves are scattering in all directions. Pepinero picks up Airwalks. Meanwhile, Flashes burn as Airwalks and Eliminator down. Soren is going to follow, and I can't believe it because Giants Gaming have made this playoff race continue.